Hello and welcome back YouTube. Today we are going to take a look on how to do a off-axis waltz jump. It's a trick that originally for me started out as an attempt to do a butterfly kick on skates, and well, this ended up happening. So if you're keen to learn it, then follow along. And I think for starters we're actually going to take off our skates because we need to know how to do a normal figure skating waltz jump and a normal tricking butterfly kick, right? So let's get into it and let's see what exercises we should do with our shoes on. So follow along. Okay, so if we want to start and take a look at the waltz jump, a waltz jump is really a 180 where you jump from one of your legs and you land to the other leg. And you know, I think most people would be able to just stand on their feet and do a normal 180. So what we're going to try and accomplish with a normal waltz jump is that we want to try and use our foot to initiate that jumping motion. I'm going to jump off from my right leg. You could also do it jumping off from your left leg. But in this case, I'm going to jump off from my right leg and I'm going to throw my knee. And from that motion of throwing my knee, I'm going to pivot up from my toes. So like if you would want to do a knee strike. And from that motion, my arms are going to be out to my side, and then they're going to make a hinge and go in. So they start out from your body in a normal T position, and then they would go into a spinning motion. So we would take knee, hinge, jump around, and then we're going to put that throwing leg down and land on that. Right? So if we do it slowly, take a step forward, punch the knee, hinge, and land on the left leg. So I'm going to try and slow it down, and then you can see how it looks fluently. So it's a bit exaggerated at this point, and I'm not really that good at doing it on my feet. And if you want that completely stylized figure skating look to your trick, go and try check out some of the figure skating tips on it. But that's the essence of that trick we need for this one, okay? So now let's take a look on how you actually do a butterfly kick. Okay, so now we're going to take a look on how to do a butterfly kick. And the point of learning this butterfly kick while you're still wearing your shoes is not really to learn how to do a proper tricking butterfly kick. It's just to learn your body that muscle memory of how it is to actually spin off axis and then landing it again. So a very brief tutorial on how to do a butterfly kick is that you would start with your body in a nice relaxed shoulder width apart stance. And what you're going to do is start up high on the outer leg. In this case, that's my left leg, and traveling to the right. So the first motion is starting up high, popping down low, and then getting ready to jump. So if you start by just doing like, I don't know what you would call it, a side skip or something, like that would be great. So that's the first part of the trick. Now comes the kind of hard part to wrap your head around, because it really utilizes your hips way more than it actually just utilizes your popping motion in the waltz jump. So from here on out, now we're comfortable with this side skipping motion. Now what we're focusing on is actually trying to pop down, and now we're going to wrap our body around the right leg, trying to face as far back as we can, and then we're going to place our jumping leg, which is the left leg or the kicking leg, in the ground to land on. So still the same concept as a waltz jump. You're jumping from one leg and landing on the other leg. So if I'm popping my my left leg, I'm trying to swing it around in a 180-degree motion. So I'm popping off like this, and now you can see that horizontal motion to the ground. Now it's really just about kicking through and meaning your kick, like you really got to put some power in it. Really put some power in kicking backwards and dragging that leg in front of you. And now you're basically just popping over to that leg. So altogether it should be a bit like this. Start up high, pop down low, kick your leg and rotate and land on the leg. So there's a bit of timing involved in this trick as well. And when you get it down fluently, it should be way more flowy. And that's why I really want you to learn this trick in your feet. Don't go out and try and learn it like a professional trigger would do. Just the basic motion of it, okay? So let me do one where it's slowed down a bit. Okay, and that's basically it for a butterfly kick. And let's get some skates on and see how we do both of those tricks on the skates. Okay, so carving waltz jump on skates. This is the trick we're going to focus on now, and I really don't have that much to add because it is basically just a waltz jump like I showed you with my shoes on. One key difference though is that now we're actually on skates and you don't have that ability to stop yourself. You know, you're always moving because you're on skates. So to combat that, I like to go into a carve instead. Because in a carve you can kind of control where your feet are pointing and you can control that leverage on how much you should rotate. And from there, instead of kicking our foot up with the knee, now you can basically just let that foot overtake the carving foot. Then you're gonna do a small pop with your jump. And from there you place your foot down just like you did with your shoes on. Okay, so I'm going to try and slow it down a bit, and then I'm going to do it a couple of times and maybe comment a bit on that. Okay, that was a bit late. That was my balance, that was not on point. What I did wrong there was that I didn't carve hard enough into it. That way I needed to pop more with my leg to get around. Now I'll try and show you what happens if you carve harder. I don't know if you can see that big of a difference, but I didn't use any energy at all because my skate really popped me into that motion. So get really good at that, and if it's too cluttered or there's too many things going on for you, just try and remember that you need to do a 180 and land on your opposite foot. Practice that and get really good at that, because that's the main foundation we're going to use when we try to do it off axis and more flared. Okay? So let's take a look on the butterfly side of the trick and what techniques we're going to pluck from there. Okay, so now we've gotten that waltz jump down, and I think it would be wrong to actually say that we need to learn how to do the butterfly kick as well, because the butterfly kick, at least when you're wearing rocket skates and you have no form of toe stops or anything like that, that is really just going to be a off-axis waltz jump. But there's still some few key differences that we can take away from this off-axis jump and then the waltz jump. And one of them is that when you do your normal waltz jump, you're going to try and make that pop around to the other leg by placing your foot forward. So you're trying to jump forward with your skate. And we're also doing it from a calf in a normal waltz jump. What we're going to do now for the butterfly kick is actually to stop our rotation almost completely. And that resulting stop is going to make the pop available for us when we don't have a toe stop. One of the other differences is that if you remember when I showed you while wearing shoes, the butterfly kick is actually a kick backwards and around, not a forwards kick. That's also one of the main differences we're going to try now. So now instead of going in a normal calf, you're trying to go into a heel pivot, and you're trying to go around almost to the point where you can feel yourself going in a stationary circle. When you feel that, you're going to pop your foot down so you have something to actually pop off from. And now you're going to try and do the rotation with your upper body and do the kicking motion from the butterfly kick. And that'll look a little bit like this. So heel turn, sorry, I'm just going to do another pass. So heel turn and popping up. It's kind of hard to actually see the main differences until we're actually going to get some energy and some force into it. So let me try and show you the complete trick like it should be done, where I use a lot more energy to actually do it. And then we'll try and slow it down and maybe comment on some of the few things, because we also need to talk about how we land. But for now, let's have a look. So I'm going to give it a bit more force now. Let me do that again. So what you might see now is that I'm actually rotating with my body, even though I'm actually rotating around myself. And for the landing part, you know, you're going off jumping from your right leg like this. What you're going to try and do is actually place your landing leg the exact same spot that you took off from. If you place your leg that exact same place you took off from, then you're automatically going to be off center with your weight. You're really not trying to land like you would a normal waltz jump on top of your skates. You're trying to land it off center so you can start spinning into the trick. And one of the things I've actually found that helps a lot to land this trick is to think of it like a volte pivot. So you're going to land with your left leg like this and expecting to ride out. Well, if you keep that right leg up and let it come down a second later, then you actually have your toe to pivot into and then go into a waltz, and voila, now you can actually flow and combine it into other sequences. So let me show you again. And Waltz. And I suppose if your balance is good enough, you could just force it around to a complete swirl. And that looks like that. Yeah, that's basically the trick. And keep practicing. It's gonna take a long time, and you can probably hear on me I'm quite a bit winded. So make sure you're fit, unlike me. But let's have a look and at some examples and some sequences incorporating the trick. And until I see you next time, thank you for watching and take care.